Mecklenburg County is one of the toughest areas in the country for children to escape poverty. That's according to a Harvard University study released this year. It's a growing problem the Charlotte community is trying to tackle, starting with schools. In this special report, Time Warner Cable News reporter Litsa Pappas shows us how school leaders are trying to lift students out of poverty, both inside and outside of class.
A Harvard study found Mecklenburg County ranks number 2 after Baltimore for the worst place in the country for kids to escape poverty.
That is daunting, and that is not in California, that's not in New York City, that is in Charlotte, North Carolina, the city that we deem our Queen City.
Denise Watts is fighting the problem by leading Project Lift. It's a 5-year public-private partnership to increase the graduation rate in Charlotte's poorest schools.
We have students that come to school that have never been to a dentist. We have kids that come to school and they're hungry.
But many teachers may not understand the needs of those students. That's why Project Lift hosts a poverty simulation before school starts.
It's this mind-opening experience.
It exposes teachers to real-life situations many of their students' families face, from losing a job as a single mom to finding affordable daycare.
They may not be able to do their homework because they're sleeping on the floor in a hotel room.
They're problems Yolanda Alexander has lived through, making it tough to keep her 17-year-old son in school.
He is in school right now, just fallen by the wayside.
She says her son has spent most of the summer in jail.
He didn't have anything extra that he could do, or something where he could go and congregate with other kids his age to keep his mind off of trouble.
She wishes he had access to more after-school programs like the ones Project Lift organizes.
What happens when they're not in school is just as important as what happens in school.
But school is a good place to start.
We have to give those kids a chance
to break their barriers for a better life. In Charlotte, Litsa Pappas, Time Warner Cable News.
Watts says Project Lift has served as an example across the country for improving graduation rates in poor communities. But schools can only do so much. Coming up Tuesday in part 2 of our special series, we'll show you how other groups in Charlotte are working with schools to tackle poverty among children. As children go back to school, thousands of them won't have the resources at home to be successful in class. In part 2 of our look at poverty in our schools, Time Warner Cable News education reporter Litsa Pappas tells us why you can't help children in poverty without helping their family as a whole.
With the rapid growth of Charlotte comes a hidden problem: kids in poverty.
We can't go and parade and look at it, but it's actually everywhere.
A new study by the Annie E. Casey Foundation found those numbers are growing in North Carolina. It estimates more than 500,000 children in the state are living in poverty. That's a 25% increase since the recession.
Our stats of homeless children is high. We have an excess of 3,000 children who are experiencing homelessness.
Raquel Lynch sees it firsthand, helping families at the Crisis Assistance Ministry in Charlotte.
We're trying to solve the issue of the child in school without taking into account that it's a family attached to that.
Families like Yolanda Alexander's who know what it's like to be homeless.
It was very rough because you were maybe at this person's house for a while until they're tired of you being there, and then you may go to this relative's house and so they're tired of you being there, and then so forth. So it's like you're just being passed along until finally you come into your own.
From homeless to housing, Alexander now has a home of her own, raising 2 sons alone, but she still needed help with her bills.
The stories that we may not hear are those children who may are trying to do their homework in the dark because the light were cut off.
Alexander came close to losing the lights, but she went to Crisis Assistance Ministry for help.
So now with my lights and my gas, I'm on an equal payment plan, and I'm able to afford both of those every month.
Lynch hopes more families will get the help they need to get back on their feet, but it starts with understanding their needs.
Listen to the people we are trying to help,
so their children will one day escape poverty to succeed. Litsa Pappas, Time Warner Cable News.
Crisis Assistance Ministry provides urgent help to working poor families with utility cost, rent, and clothing. Tune in Wednesday for the 3rd and final installment of our Poverty in Our Schools special. We'll show you another program that helps families escape dangerous conditions to find the best education for their children. Improving achievement in high poverty schools is tough when the students' parents don't know how to help. In our final installment of the series, we show you why helping families in need is not just about donations. Time Warner Cable News education reporter Litsa Pappas shows us how one group works to break the cycle of poverty by educating parents.
Kim Gillespie's 10-year-old son Jamal has trouble walking on his own. He was born 3 months premature.
He actually has cerebral palsy, he's hearing impaired, and has a blood disorder.
Taking care of him and her 2 other kids has been tough as a single mom, especially when they lived in Dillahay Courts in Northeast Charlotte.
We would be in the house by 6 o'clock, and I would never come downstairs because at any given moment, somebody would be shooting.
She escaped the neighborhood full of crime and poverty thanks to the Getting Ahead program. Mark Carr runs it.
I find myself giving a voice to the people in poverty that don't really have a voice.
Carr visited areas like Dillahay Courts to show families the resources they can use to have a stable life and to find the best school for their kids.
The gap in the graduation rate is really at home.
He says the cycle of poverty can only be broken by providing a good education to not only at-risk kids, but also their parents.
You have to help change the mindset. And so that mindset is that there's no one there for me.
Carr taught Gillespie about programs to help her disabled son and daycare she can afford, all through resources she never knew existed, and now her outlook on life has changed.
You can always hear no, but you keep going until you get a yes.
She has since moved her family to a place with handicap accessibility and a school that offers specialized help for Jamal. Now she hopes her kids will have a better life than she did growing up.
No longer living in fear.
In a safer place where education comes first. Litsa Pappas, Time Warner Cable News.
Gillespie says she's also working on becoming a homeowner the next couple of years with the help of Getting Ahead.